Let's BIM together AutoCAD tip number 11. Overview of basic to advanced dynamic blocks, their insertion methods, and what is possible. So the purpose of this video is just to inform you about different types of dynamic blocks. Hopefully it'll give you ideas of how to implement something similar to your environment. That said, let's get to it. Dynamic blocks, they are just blocks that have dynamic grips basically, or parameterized values. They add a lot of efficiency. I'm going to go over simpler ones, medium ones, and like the more complex, and you can kind of choose which one you think would apply to you best. So for example, my opinion is the good blocks, they're either very simple or very complex, but they get the job done well. It's just they're done with the thought of how the user will be using them. So here, let's say this window, right? Very simple. We have our two grips with the set distances, or we can click the two drop downs, select options, and we could do the same thing through the properties here. Reason to use the properties, for example, if let's say I have a bunch of these windows, I'm just going to copy them over. If I want to change the height of all of them, I can just select them here and change the height in one shot. We could also change the width as well, right? I just made it very small. Now, if you select one at a time, or if you select the grips that show up on the block, you can't do that. So that's a good reason to use the properties, because you could just do multiple things. Again, very simple. Something a little bit more complex, like this pile over here. It has this circle graphic that represents the pile, and you could change the radius on it. So if I change it to something, let me make it smaller, and then I do regen all, REA, enter. It says here, now it's 2'6". So I'm going to make this a lot bigger. Let's make this up to here, REA. Now it's 7'6". It still has other grips that you can move manually. Again, and then there is the number. So let's say this is number 1. You want to change it to number 2. You can always plug that in. The REA command, that means regen all. With these types of blocks, if you change something that has a field that looks like this, you will have to regenerate. So just keep that in mind when you're working on it. When you open the CAD file, so if let's say you just made a bunch of modifications and saved it, you don't have to regenerate, because whenever you open that file, it will automatically regenerate at opening. Moving onwards, now this is a really nice block here. The reason I like it, so I have here, let me turn this on. You have these dimensions, right? And the grip. So I can kind of extend this upward, right? And the dimensions automatically update with it. So this is really nice. And then we're just going to do regen. As you see here, all the dimensions updated. Now I'm going to right click reset block just to bring it to original form. What's even cooler about this guy over here, so what I can do is, let's say I want to change the type of a window. I'm just going to say let's do double casement. Let's see what happens. Then we're going to click this drop down. So that's a casement, okay. So here I can even change it more. So let me do this. I'm going to make this an awning, right? And this is where it gets really cool. So here I'm going to do, let's say something like this. And for this side, we're going to make a selection. We'll do 2 horizontals, right? Very cool, because you have this, and let's say I want to drop the sill down, right? Make this window a foot bigger. So let me just I can plug that in here, regen, right? Now it says it's a 5-foot window with a 3-foot sill. It says up top it's 2 2-foot windows. Let me just bring this out. Let's say I want to make it 2 3-foot windows. I can plug in 6 feet here, regen, right? So very cool and very efficient. This steel shape over here, also pretty neat. So you could do is you could select different sizes, and it's very organized, right? So you don't have to scroll through a giant list. And I'll show you how a different type of a family, how they approached it, which I'm not crazy about later. But here I could switch different sizes, right? And then we can also switch the view, and it keeps that size in mind. So let's say we just changed it here, and I'm going to change the size again, right? And then we're just going to do, let's say I want to see a section, right? Pretty cool. Another one, parking. Very cool with dynamic blocks because you can just kind of use that grip to array it. It shows the count here. So let's say I'm going to expand this out, take this way out here, do our REA command, zoom in. It says 42 parking spaces. Pretty cool. Architectural columns, right? Quickly switch from different types so you don't have to copy and paste or redraw. Here I have some casework. So this casework, again, I can even go through properties, plug in, let's say 6 feet. Oh, that was 6 inches. Let's do 6 feet. Do REA. It says it's a 6 foot casework. I can also use the grips. Let's make it 8 foot. REA says 8 feet. Pretty cool. Now for simpler blocks, they're done typically with visibility. So I want to show you, I'm not crazy about these, but sometimes you can't avoid not having to do this. So for example, this block here, it has a lot of options, but they're all piled in under one drop down for the user to select. So it kind of becomes annoying to use. You can do this to try to make it easier for yourself scrolling through this massive list. But as you see here, that's a lot of options and extremely unorganized. That under the hood, if you look in this block, so let's say I'm going to right click block editor, basically every visibility option that's there is a unique piece of geometry. So it becomes a nightmare to manage. It is very easy to make, but it's kind of more of working. If you don't have to do this and you're doing it, it's basically working hard, not smart. But again, if we click here, you can see it's 97 polylines. So like good luck modifying types. It just gets very frustrating. So a smarter approach to this is going to be the L shape that we took a look before. So let's go see this L shape, right? It has a lot more features than the W shape that we looked at. But if you right click this and go into block editor, and then let's just make a selection. This entire thing has 3 polylines. So it's using very minimal geometry, but it's using parameters and constraints to kind of modify that geometry shape. It takes more time to make. However, maintaining it is a lot easier. It scales nicer. And what's cool about it is you get something like this, a properties table, right? So this is what drives it. You have this table here, and you can easily add new values, and it will modify the geometry. So when something like this is set up, it's a lot easier to kind of build on top of. And that's all I have for the blocks here. However, they get a lot more advanced. I've made full rooms where you could swap out different furniture elements. I've seen auto lists with, I've worked on an auto list that connects to Trimble equipment, basically surveying equipment, and the auto list would automatically plop different types of dynamic blocks into AutoCAD and scale them. So it gets pretty cool. But this is all I have for the demonstration on the types of blocks. It's just to give you an idea. For insertion methods, I have a few different insertion methods I would like to show you. So one, my personal favorite is going to be the tool palette. So all you do is you type in tool palettes, hit enter, tool palettes. There you go. Now the architectural one you see here, that's the default one that comes with Revit. It's pretty cool. It has that window that I was showing you before. Here I can place it, right? And we have those stretch grips. You can create your own tab in here. So here I have Let's BIM Together. And for example, if I want to bring one of the blocks, I have the preview. I could just click here, parking space. I'm going to click here. We're going to press OK. That's the first attribute window. It's always going to show up. So now I can, again, stretch that parking space, and it works same as before. Here's my architectural column, right? As you see, very efficient, and it's very cool because you can just kind of place these here. You can select both of them, and let's say we want to change all of our columns. So we'll just change them this way, right? Number 7. Pretty cool. Another method of insertion is going to be Autodesk Design Center. So you're just going to type ADC enter. So here we can have our library, and here I have the architecture and structure. So let's go to architecture. And you can click here, you get a little preview so you can kind of go around. So here's our column head that we saw before. And you can just kind of click and drag. And functions same as the other. It's just, it's a different way. Some of them are easier to set up than the others. The insert different methods of insertion. So again, I'm just gonna click Window Dynamic, drag it into here. Hit enter a few times, press OK. There you go. So a third method of doing this is going to be up top with a menu option. So here again, I have Let's Bin Together. Let's go to Architecture. I got my parking space again. I'm just going to click this. We can insert, press OK. And there's my parking space. Again, it functions basically exactly the same thing. It's just whatever you prefer. Some people already have a crazy menu bar built up top. Some firms, they don't use the menu bar because it's, I guess, more older method of using AutoCAD. Again, it's just preferences. So here I can just click L shape and the L shape is loaded. Another method of doing this is via container file. So container file is just a AutoCAD file that's going to have all the dynamic blocks in it. So here I have some decking, right? You can array it up, array it down, a bunch of different W shapes or random structural shapes. And the idea is here, you're just going to select and copy into your CAD file. Now there's obviously more different ways. You could probably do something else with AutoList. There's also the insert command, which I don't really use, but you know, it has the recent blocks, which looks pretty cool. So you can, all the blocks we used before, I can just click here and we can insert it, right? You can also add your libraries as well. So hopefully this kind of gives you some ideas. Maybe you can extrapolate this to your workflows. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you on the next AutoCAD tip.